Ticklets, just so you know, these are 3 things I would do before starting a business in 2026. The first thing that I would do is teach myself the skills before starting the business. So when I first started out my jewelry business, I had zero knowledge when it came to making jewelry. My bracelets would often end up snapping, or the knots would just come loose just like that. And when making necklaces, I didn't know what knot coverers were. Which, side note, if you don't know what they are either, they are the things that cover the knots in a necklace. So I instead used hot glue. Yeah, you heard me right. Hot glue. And it was just so ugly. My first ever sale that I had gone to had products with a hot glue on it, and people actually bought it. And I feel so bad because, they really looked terrible. I would 100% teach myself the skills before starting the business. And this doesn't apply only to my jewelry making niche. This applies to literally any niche. For example, if you were to start a baking business, basic skills that you would need to learn would be how to measure correctly, how to make sure temperatures are consistent, and how to use baking equipment. So yeah guys, take my advice and learn the skills first, because it's gonna save you a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of energy. The second thing I would do is shift my mindset. I wouldn't change it completely, but I would upgrade it. Because I believe that you do need a money-making mindset. Because if you didn't have this, you might end up underpricing your product because you think people might say it's priced too high. But the truth is, they don't see the hours that you put into that product. They don't see the sleep that you sacrificed. And they don't see the 101 times you had to remake it because of mistakes made on the way. All they see is the final price and the final product. And usually people who complain like this are the ones who don't like spending their money. And these people are absolutely not your kind of customers. Ignore them, because the right customers will find you and your brand. Now, something I would add on to my money-making mindset is to choose a niche that you absolutely like. Because, okay, for example, me, if I were to start a business in the makeup or skincare niche, I would absolutely detest it. Because I really hate makeup, and I only ever wear them when I have to go to events or something. And that too, very little. But that's a whole different topic to speak about. But you get the idea. You need to start something in a niche that you enjoy. Because like in my case, if I started a makeup business, I wouldn't have had the passion that got me up every morning thinking, oh my gosh, I need to wake up and I need to make my business successful because it's a part of me. And then the last thing that I would add to my mindset is to expect to achieve small goals, not massively big ones. Because I myself, back in 2023, when I first started creating content for my business, would upload a reel on Instagram and expect to wake up to 300 likes and 100 plus followers. That just doesn't happen to people like that. They put in a lot of effort. So my 2023 self would have been thinking, why am I stuck at 300 followers? Why can't I just be as good as everyone else? But now, 3 years later, I would tell myself that some of the small businesses now that have a lot of followers, they too would have started out with a couple hundred, and then the more they kept on posting content, they would have gradually grown their following. After that, I would say, set small goals. For instance, I hit 200 IG followers about 5 months ago, and now my new goal is to hit 300 followers. And we're currently 30 followers away. And on TikTok, because I opened my account only about a month ago, my goal is to hit 50 followers. Because I know once I hit that goal, I'll be really happy and accomplished and get a new burst of energy to hit the next goal, which maybe would be 100 followers on TikTok and 350 followers on Instagram. However, if I were to keep a large goal, like hitting 1,000 followers by the end of the month, and if I didn't end up hitting that goal, then I'd probably be really bummed out and demotivated. So that's why I'm really strong on setting small goals. And celebrate the small wins. Just 10 followers means 10 people decided to be a part of your brand's family. And that's great news. And the third thing I would do before starting a business in 2026 is to test whatever I make first. Because I've learned a few times the hard way that products that I think will fly off the shelves don't even sell once. But products that I think look really terrible and I make only about 3 copies of them, they are sold out within seconds. The lesson I learned from that is batch making products is not a wise move. But making itty bitty portions of each product and testing out how well they work is the best move. And the last thing is, don't make your business all professional as soon as you start. Since if you do that, you're probably going to look at it as more of a chore than something that you would go to find peace and relaxation. And a bonus tip is to not be afraid to use your voice. Why? Because it gives your brand personality. I am faces across all 3 of my social media platforms, but I still use my voice now and then in my content. And the more you do that, the more people come across your content and they're like, oh, this is the voice of this brand. And then they start to connect with you more. And they'll probably be happy to know that there's an actual human behind the face of the business. If you only create content following trends, people might just end up scrolling past thinking, everything is the same, everything is generic. Not saying content following trends is bad, I think it's really great. I'm just saying that having both content with your voice and content following trends is better than only having content following trends. And I'm letting you in on a little secret of mine. Something I like to do is to mix my voice along with the trending audio. For example, this TikTok that I posted.
Everybody's always like, why are all these small businesses based in America? Like, shipping is literally like a plane ticket.
Yeah, I get it. That's why I'm based in Sri Lanka. Don't worry, I got you guys. At the start, it was a trending audio, but I finished the reel off with my own voice. And I noticed this one got higher views in comparison to all my other TikToks. And that wraps up the 3 things that I would do before starting a business in 2026. Oh, plus one bonus tip. Oh, and just a reminder, you're great. But why on earth would I say you're great? That's a bit suspicious, isn't it? Well, not really. You're great because you've already started. Clicking on this video alone means you've started. Starting is a milestone in itself, and you've already hit that, so give yourself a clap. Alright then, Ticklets, goodbye. And for the ones who aren't subscribed, subscribe, because I would love you to be a part of the Ticklets family.